The lights. Well, good afternoon and welcome to our Faces of Hunger Town Hall live stream.
September is Hunger Action Month. It's a time where people all across the country take action and fight against hunger.
So during this live stream, we're going to learn all about the different programs that the San Antonio Food Bank is offering. We're also going to hear the story of one of the food bank's clients and how it's inspired her to help her own community.
That's right. The San Antonio Food Bank says the need is greater than ever in our community because of inflation. The nonprofit is serving 100,000 people each week.
So that's 10,000 people more a week since 2021. The single mother of three says it was the hope that the food bank gave her that inspired her to give back to others.
I was hopeless.
Hopeless and lost. It's how Mari Morales felt a year ago, faced with inflation. As she watched the food supplies in her home run out, she knew she needed to keep her 11-year-old son and 10-year-old twins fed.
I was in desperate need of feeding my family. I am a single mother of 3 kids, so having to meet their needs was vital for me.
So she turned to the San Antonio Food Bank, getting in line in one of their Southside distribution locations. And when she got home, her family was overwhelmed with the food they received.
When we received everything that was given to us, it was more than enough.
That inspired her to give back. She says they gathered some of their extra food they received and shared it with their neighbors. Seeing that need and gratification, she took it to another level, partnering with the San Antonio Food Bank to hold food distributions in her neighborhood every other Tuesday. She wants those in her community to know that it's okay to ask for help.
It doesn't matter your social status. It doesn't matter if you feel, well, do I need this? Or are there others who need it more than I do? It's here for everyone.
She says her family has been distributing food in her East Side neighborhood for a year now and hopes that others in the community who can help are inspired to step up not just this month, but all year long.
So if you're on the other side of this need, and you can give, do that. Together we can fight this hunger and feed hope.
And back here at our Faces of Hunger Town Hall, we are actually joined by Mari Morales, who you just heard her story. Welcome, Mari, and we're joined by Julian Ledesmar with the San Antonio Food Bank. You are their storyteller.
That's correct.
Helping tell stories like Mari's.
Correct.
Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
So amazing story. Both of you guys working together. The pictures were so powerful, but the video of the family, of your family, beautiful family, by the way.
Thank you.
So kind of break it down. We heard a little bit of it. So what really inspired you to step up and help out everyone around you?
I would have to say that my inspiration was being in the need of my own, having to be able to give my kids the nutrition they needed, having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because it all began in the early part of the pandemic when they were being homeschooled. So I had them there all day long, and the situation wasn't getting any better. So I found myself having to look for resources out there.
Well, they were getting, if they're doing virtual learning, you're used to them having their breakfast and lunch at school.
Right.
And so now not only are you dealing with inflation, but also extra meals.
Right, right. That was the part where I had to decide, you got to do this. These are your kids. You're a single mom. You got to make it happen. So I was on social media looking for resources, and I saw that the San Antonio Food Bank was having a pop-up distribution, or it was either a citywide, but they were giving out food, and I registered right there and then. I didn't wait, and to my surprise, when I went, it was just amazing. I'll never forget it.
And so we've been to a few of those mega distributions. There's so many families out there, but like you talked about in the story, there's still a lot of people who don't want to ask for help. So what prompted you to go to your neighbors and say, hey, I want to help you too?
Yes, when we received our first, when we went to get our food for ourselves, we had so much of it. The kids said, can we take some to the neighbors? Can we give so-and-so? And, you know, they started naming the neighbors. They immediately got bags, and we started making some care packages for all the neighbors. They took off distributing, and that's how it all began, and we haven't stopped since.
And Julian, you are the storyteller. You tell stories like Mari's.
So this video right now.
And there's so many stories that need to be told. What has impacted you most when you're out there on the ground talking to these families in the community? What are you really hearing? What's the underlying message?
So I'm completely honored to be a part of the food bank and to be the storyteller. I was born and raised in San Antonio. I was raised by a single mom, just like Mari, did the best she could. I was raised in the lines of food banks. So it's an honor just to be on this side, to working with the food bank, telling the stories of the San Antonio community. It's incredible. At the beginning of the pandemic, it was just overwhelming.
We saw that line.
So that famous picture by William Luther, who took that picture, I think that's what got everyone's attention at that point in time. I was there in between those cars, talking to the individuals, talking to the people, getting the real story. A lot of them told me when they got there, they had no idea that they were the only ones. They thought they were the only ones going through this, but it's a slew of San Antonians that were going through those struggles.
And it's not. When we think of like people who need help, you think of people in poverty, but it's really with inflation and the pandemic, that's not the case anymore. Absolutely.
So with spiking inflation, a client of the food bank can be anyone. You have no clue, so you see all walks of life.
Amani, I want to go back to you. You know, talking to people, talking to your neighbors. You know, why don't they want to go to the food bank?
I feel like a lot of people are maybe intimidated. Maybe they don't feel that they're in that much need. Some might be embarrassed. I mean, I can think of X amount of reasons, but the truth is that there are no requirements. It doesn't matter what social status you come from, or, you know, whether you're working or not working. With these times, everybody can use a little help.
Are you seeing people like, you know, people who can pay their mortgage, who can pay those big bills, but when it comes after all those big bills, nothing's left over for food? Are those the families that you guys are seeing that need that help?
Absolutely.
I would say yes.
Just like Mari said, it's all walks of life. You have no idea what this person is going through. You have no idea what happened to their job or what happened to their car at the moment in time. So you have no clue, and we're not there to judge. We're here to serve, and we're here to feed families.
Mari, tell us a little bit about your own distribution. Like, is it once a month, twice a month?
Twice a month.
Okay.
We do it in the east side of San Antonio. Feed about 150 to 200 families.
Wow.
And the rapport, the feeling that I get from seeing those smiles, from seeing, I believe it's hope, because that's how I felt. Seeing that inspires me. It inspired me then. It still inspires me to continue to do that, to be able to bring that to so many people who never knew that was available for them, who don't necessarily, they could be driving by and I'll wave them down, hey, come here. You know, I'm like, come get your blessings. I mean, this is for anybody. Just give me a little bit of information and we load you up and you're ready to go. And I let them know that it's available every 2 weeks, just at that site, but it's all over San Antonio.
Where are you guys distributing from on the east side?
We are at a family-owned and operated thrift store, Treasures of El Dorado on 3082 Martin Luther King Drive.
Do people need to register with you beforehand? How does it work?
On site. They register on site.
Okay.
And they immediately get taken care of. Yes, it's amazing. We have cold drinks out there. If it's hot, I have an amazing team of volunteers, and we're out there to serve. And we're wholehearted at it. Wholehearted and giving hope, because not only because of September, it's Hunger Action Month, but it's also because I know firsthand that feeling of desperation, and I know the feeling, the sense of hope that having that brings to me and be able to give to my family.
Now you see about 150 to 200 people every distribution.
Yes, sir.
Julian, you're out at everywhere. I mean, you're literally the boots on the ground. We go to some of the distributions, we try to tell people stories, but you're out there every day. You know, what are you seeing? Are you still seeing those crowds of people?
Oh, absolutely. And you're talking about not only San Antonio, but all the counties that we are in charge of distributing. So it's an everyday thing. And so I'm just there to jot down their real story, let them know this is out of respect, we're putting this down. Out of transparency, we're gonna let them know what we're gonna use their story for. Again, I was born and raised here, and the same stories are basically that I was raised with is I see these people coming through. So to me, the people I meet I see my grandmother there, I see my tia, I see all that. And it's just getting those stories. And sometimes they're a little rough, and sometimes they're a little very emotional, and brings me to tears as well. But at the end of the day, I can tell them food shouldn't be a factor. No one should be hungry. No kid should be hungry. No one in general. And giving them the resources to know how to get that food.
Now, I remember in the pandemic, because you talked about it a little bit earlier, the main problem was it was so many people who had never gone through this before. So many people had lost their jobs and they didn't know what to do, and they came out needing for help. Are you still seeing the same families, or is it more and more families because of inflation?
So the same families, absolutely. We're seeing new families. I get always, this is the first time I've ever come here.
Yes.
I didn't know the process. I've never known to know the process. And so it's surprising that people don't know, but that's why we're here. We're here to inform all of San Antonio. If you're in need, give the San Antonio Food Bank a call. They're here to help.
One more question before we bring in Eric Cooper in just a bit for both of you. What would be your message to people who are on the other receiving end who can help, who can donate, who can do distribution events, or who can help out financially for the food bank?
I would say that if you're on the end of needing, don't hold back, don't hesitate. Don't let anything stop you from having to do what you have to do for your family. And if you're on the other end, for every $1, that feeds 7 people. So that's a big help. It keeps it going. You pay back. You never know who's gonna be in that need. And like I said, if you need, you can get help. And if you're on the other end, give. Because fighting hunger and feeding hope is what this is about, and we can do it together.
What about you, Julian?
So for people who give to the San Antonio Food Bank, that's our saving grace. It's the same as a large donor or the person that donates $1. It's a huge impact. It helps families overwhelmingly. The stories that I have, we have them on our website, safoodbank.org/stories. If you ever want to see the stories that we work on, if you ever want to see Mari's story again, or other stories from San Antonio community, they're there, and you'll see exactly what those donations do.
All right.
Yes.
Mari, Julian?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
It was
you.
a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so we're talking about the community stepping up and helping out, and here at home, we had high schools team up to take down hunger.
That's right. Max actually did a great story. Each year since 2016, teams in and around San Antonio have dedicated their week 1 game to fighting hunger by participating in a competition called the Peanut Butter Bowl.
Whether you gather 100 or 100,000 jars, we're all going to do our best to be a part of this and make this thing successful.
Jar after jar has been donated over the years. Since its inception, the Peanut Butter Bowl, organized by Very Bold Ministries, has collected 95,000 jars of peanut butter. This high school football competition continues to expand and continues to gain momentum each and every year.
It's something that's a great thing that happens here in the San Antonio area, and now it's spreading all over the place.
It's easy to help out. Schools collect donations of peanut butter and funds to donate to a local hunger relief organization, an organization like the San Antonio Food Bank.
We thought that as people went back to work, it might moderate down to that 60,000 individuals a week, and it's 100,000 now. It took a dip, and now it's back up. Just with inflation and the expenses around us, we're seeing, and in some ways, record numbers for a non-pandemic time.
The need for families in and around our community is still super high, so donating just 1 jar of peanut butter, it can go really far.
It's a protein, but it's something we don't see donated. So the opportunity for high schoolers and their families to donate peanut butter, and during a peanut butter kind of competition, I call it a compassion competition, it's awesome, right?
And welcome back. We're here with Eric Cooper, CEO of San Antonio Food Bank. Always a pleasure to have you here.
Great to be with you. And guys, thank you so much. Max, you and I have been out in those parking lots for several years now, and we see the cars. But highlighting Mari's story of who's in that car and who are they, what are they about. And I think that need or hunger for all of us to serve, to give back. All of us sometimes are in times of need of something, but the need to give and to hear that from Mari, hey, I had a need, but I wanted to do something also to give, was just so powerful.
Now, September is Hunger Action Month. What does that mean for you guys specifically at the food bank?
Well, you know, most people don't realize orange is the color for hunger awareness. So sport some orange. It starts with a color, but hopefully ends with a solution. You know, people are going to ask, Max, why are you wearing that orange tie, right? You can say it's because of Hunger Action Month. The importance of this time is not only to bring awareness, but also to drive action. And this month, we're trying to use hope as an action to motivate people to learn about the issue, but then to do something about it.
Okay, so inflation, I mean, we basically have a story every day in our newscast about how it's impacting families in every area. So that $1 to feed 7 families, are you guys still able to do that with inflation, or is it getting more difficult each and every day when we see these prices rising?
It is. I tell you, with the supply chain disruptions, we're committed to run the food bank on just 2% administrative overhead. And so we've been able to do that for 21 years. But with the cost of fuel, all the logistical expenses associated with getting food from those that have it to those that need it, we're worried, right? And the way we're able to keep those efficiencies is because of our volunteers. We need about 2,000 volunteers a week to be able to run as efficiently as we need. That number has been about 1,500. So for those that are watching, if you do have some free time and can bring your family or maybe your company, your church, school, club, come and volunteer, because that keeps our overhead low. It impacts a lot of people. But until our audit's wrapped up, we won't know what this last year's number totally looks like. But I know we're going to continue to do what we can to be the most efficient and effective nonprofit for San Antonio.
Now, inflation not only impacting you guys in logistics, it's impacting families. I mean, during the pandemic, we saw those historically long lines, and we did have a grace period. There was about a 2-month buffer where things started to slow down, but then it ramped right back up.
Yeah, you know, end of the day, families are leaving the grocery store with less food in their grocery cart with the same amount of spend. So many categories got hit, and for families that are on such a thin margin already, barely making the increase in rent, their utility bills are through the roof. We've had some of the hottest days this summer. Then you look at the cost of fuel, and all of that ends up being a perfect storm, and families just falling short. And as you guys highlighted, I think sometimes the stigma, the fear, no one wants to ask for help. But if you're watching and you're in need, please go to our website, safoodbank.org. All of the information and criteria is there. You'll register for those distribution events, like the one on the east side, and then you'll go and get food. We have other programming that's available that can help families with enrolling in public benefits like SNAP and WIC. They need health insurance. We also have incredible workforce strategies, so we partner with Workforce Solutions Alamo and SA Ready to Work. So there's opportunities to move people to maybe more self-reliance and self-sufficiency, but we want to meet people where they're at. So whatever their need is, there's an array of services that could really help out.
And you talked about some of those programs. Are there, first of all, you guys do countless number of programs in our community. Are there any that you want to highlight for Hunger Action Month?
Well, I know so many people know the food bank for the groceries we distribute, but they don't realize the number of meals that we're preparing on a daily basis. The new Mays Family Culinary Center has the ability to produce about 50,000 meals a day.
Wow.
Most of those meals are going to feed kids all throughout the city. But a lot of people don't know that there's a culinary school embedded in that program. And so individuals that are wanting to enter the workforce, that are unskilled, can go through a culinary arts training program at the food bank, and then we can place them in jobs. Our goal is to get them into the middle of the kitchen. We want the wage to really be up there so that they ultimately don't need us. But with so many restaurants looking for good talent, the wages are getting more competitive. And so if someone's needing those skills, that would be a program that I think could use some attention, and definitely there's capacity for students.
Well, hunger, obviously a multifaceted problem, but you guys are kind of attacking this problem with multiple solutions, not only the distributions and the food making, the farming that you guys have, but also housing. Talk to us about the new Broncos Project.
Yeah, so most people, again, because we're branded San Antonio Food Bank, they assume we just serve Bexar County, but we actually serve 29 counties in Southwest Texas. And so Comel is one of our larger populated counties, and within Comel County is the New Braunfels Food Bank, a branch of the San Antonio Food Bank, and they are serving thousands of families each month. The biggest challenge for families in that community is their housing costs. Comel County is one of the fastest growing counties in the United States. Because of that, the cost of housing just puts it out of reach for so many families, so they can't afford to work and live in the same community. So over the years, the New Braunfels Food Bank's been working with the community to address the housing challenge, and we are building what's called the Apple Seeds Apartments. Connected to the apples in our logo, right? We hope to be planning some futures for families with children that are working but just not able to make all of those things line up. It's a asset building strategy where families receive a reduced rent, and while they're in the program housed at the Appleseed Apartments, they'll set aside a portion of their rent in savings that will be awarded when they graduate from the program. So it's really a complex strategy to try to build some wealth, build some savings in a family's household while helping them stay in the community. And we can't wait till that project gets started and that families move in and we can start impacting lives in that new way.
I think something that, I mean, you hear it, anyone, eating healthy is so expensive, and with inflation even more so. And you guys have a great garden program, and you also have different programs that make sure that these families in need are getting not just any food, but also healthy, fresh food.
Yeah, nutrition's complex, right? There's 4 big barriers to good nutrition. Income is the biggest driver. How much you make determines how well you eat, and just as you highlighted, sometimes healthy calories tend to be the more expensive ones. Geography, where you live. You live in a food desert, you don't have access to a grocery store, you might be tempted to walk over to a convenience store with less selection and higher prices. Education, sometimes families do have access to healthy foods, they just don't know how to prepare it, don't know how to cook. Or really the commerce around food. It's kind of ironic that in our food economy, the food that's most available and accessible is marketed the most, tastes super great, is maybe low cost, but isn't really healthy for us when you think about fast food or fried foods. I mean, it is a challenge, but the food bank is working to try to get people access to healthy food, and then dialing in the education through our nutrition education programs on healthy recipes and quick fix ideas. One of our biggest challenges as a society is time. You know, people are just working so much that they're looking for convenience. And so heat and eat and ready to eat options, curbside pickups, home deliveries, all that's a strategy to try to satisfy this busy lifestyle that all of us are caught up in, and the families that we're serving that oftentimes are struggling with the lowest incomes, juggling public transportation and all of the same life obstacles, need help too. And so the food bank's working to really make sure that nutrition is accessible for everyone in San Antonio.
Now you guys are partnering with Rbfcu this month, hosting those donation stations. Tell us about it. How can people help out?
Well, you know, there's 4 things the food bank always is in need of. It's food, time, money, and voice. Food through food drives, and Rbfcu, they do such a great job of running a great business, but they have so many wonderful branches that it creates a convenient drop-off location. So if anyone would like to donate a non-perishable canned good, please do that. And give some time. Again, the need for volunteers at the food bank is great. Always can make a financial contribution. Still, that $1 is equal 7 meals, and so you can donate online. And then just share this story. If you're watching the program today, put it in your social media. You know, like us, link us, you know, retweet. Get the word out. Whether you want to give help or you're in need of help, you can find both at the San Antonio Food Bank.
Well, Eric Cooper with the San Antonio Food Bank, thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure, and your message is always such a great and inspirational one.
It is, and anyone who wants more information on how to help out, how to donate time, money, drop off some food at the Rbfcu, we have all those information. Right now, just head to KSAT.com.
Thank you for joining us.
You guys make it easy.